What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome back to Buffalo Beat News, your go-to spot for exclusive coverage, insider insight, and real talk on everything surrounding our Buffalo Bills. The Bills are working every day to get better, to tighten up every detail, and to finally bring that Lombardi Trophy home to Western New York. And while the players grind on the field and Sean McDermott sets the tone, we've got our eye on what's happening around the league. So if you're fired up for this season, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's talk about how a blockbuster trade involving Jalen Ramsey might impact Buffalo's road to Super Bowl 60 and why head coach Sean McDermott is now officially under pressure to deliver. Let's dive in a move that shook the AFC landscape. The Pittsburgh Steelers made a bold win-now statement by trading for three-time All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. The trade included draft pick swaps and sent Jonnu Smith and Minkah Fitzpatrick to Miami. A deal that, on paper, signals the Steelers are gearing up for a real Super Bowl push. And that affects the Bills big time. Let's be real, Buffalo is gunning for the Super Bowl, and they know there's a good chance their path will cross with a team like Pittsburgh in January. Ramsey, even at 31, still has the ability to erase one side of the field. He's physical, he's smart, and he's got something personal when it comes to the Bills. Since his 2017 playoff win with Jacksonville, he's gone 0-7 against Buffalo. He wants revenge, and now he has a better squad around him than he did last year in Miami. So when the Bills meet the Steelers in Week 13, it could be a playoff preview. And you better believe Ramsey will be locked in, looking to shut down Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir, whoever's hot by then. But there's another angle. Miami losing Ramsey weakens their defense in a major way. Buffalo plays the Dolphins twice before facing the Steelers, giving Coleman, Shakir, and Palmer a golden opportunity to build chemistry with MVP Josh Allen. If those young receivers can develop confidence against a thin Miami secondary, it could be the perfect prep before seeing elite defenders like Ramsey later in the season. Let's talk big picture. The AFC is stacked. Aaron Rodgers is in Pittsburgh. DK Metcalf is there now too. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs, and you can bet teams like the Ravens and Texans are going nowhere. Buffalo's path to the Super Bowl was never going to be easy. But moves like this, trades that load up a potential playoff rival with Hall of Fame caliber defenders, put even more pressure on the Bills to be perfect. That's why everything this season feels more intense. Every divisional game, every mid-season matchup, every loss could change playoff seeding and matchups. The Bills need to be firing on all cylinders, and the coaching needs to be flawless. Which leads us to, it may sound crazy to some fans, but Sean McDermott is officially on the national hot seat. CBS Sports' Tyler Sullivan listed him as one of the top 5 coaches under pressure heading into 2025. Let's break that down. McDermott has a career record of 86-45, 6 straight 10-win seasons, 7 playoff appearances in 8 years. Helped develop Josh Allen into an MVP and built a winning culture that Buffalo hadn't seen in decades. No Super Bowl, not yet. And while the regular season numbers are impressive, the 7-7 playoff record is what critics focus on. The collapses against Kansas City, the inconsistencies on defense, despite McDermott's background as a defensive guy, and now, with MVP Josh Allen in his prime, a deep roster, and another top-tier defense on paper, anything less than a Super Bowl appearance will raise serious questions. Here's the thing. There are two sides to this debate. One side says McDermott is the best thing that's happened to this franchise into decades. He ended the drought. He built a powerhouse. And firing a coach with a .656 win percentage, better than even Andy Reid's career mark, would be reckless. The other side says the window is shrinking. Allen is amazing, but even MVPs don't play at that level forever. The AFC is brutal, and someone has to take the fall if Buffalo fails to reach the Super Bowl again. It's not about being a good coach anymore. It's about being the right coach to get this team over the hump. Just like Dungy finally got the Colts to the promised land after years of heartbreak. So here we are, a team with sky-high expectations and a head coach who knows the clock is ticking. To help this defense and give McDermott no excuses, GM Brandon Beane went all in, signed Joey Bosa, a proven star pass rusher drafted defense heavy, including top CB Maxwell Hairston, re-signed key offensive linemen like David Edwards, and doubled down on Joe Brady's offense with weapons like Coleman, Shakir, and Cook. The talent is there, the experience is there, and now, with rivals like Pittsburgh loading up with Ramsey and Rodgers, the pressure is dialed all the way up. The linebacker position for the Bills has been, let's call it what it is, a battlefield over the past 2 seasons. Even though Buffalo usually rolls with just 2 linebackers on the field at a time, injuries have exposed how thin that room can get real fast. And that's where Baylon Spector enters the conversation. He's not a star, and he's not a starter when everyone is healthy, but in this league, you're only ever 1 snap away from needing your backups to play big-time snaps in big-time games. And Spector, he's had moments that show what he can bring when called upon. But availability, not just ability, might be his biggest issue heading into 2025. Let's start with the numbers. Spector is in the final year of his rookie contract, a 4-year deal worth $76 million total. His cap hit for 2025 is just over $1.1 million. That's manageable. But if the Bills cut him, they eat just $25,931 in dead money. Translation, financially, he's very cuttable. That makes this offseason critical, with just 7 linebackers currently on the 90-man roster, and multiple players coming off injury-riddled seasons. There's a window of opportunity for Spector if his body holds up. Last season started quietly for Spector. Week 1 against Arizona, 0 defensive snaps. But he was active, which was a win after dealing with a nagging calf injury throughout the preseason. Then came Week 2, with Terrell Bernard injured. Spector was thrown into the fire against Miami, and he showed up. 10 tackles, including 1 for a loss, and a dominant 31-10 win. He followed that up with 2 more starts, totaling 12 tackles, a sack, and a fumble recovery. Solid numbers, solid production, but then the calf struck again after starting against Seattle later in the year. He was hurt again in special teams play, and back to injured reserve he went. He returned briefly, even started against the Patriots in Week 16, but once again, the calf flared up, and his season was done. Final tally, 40 tackles, 1.5 sacks, to TFLs, and a roller coaster ride of availability. So here's the reality. Spector has played just 20 of a possible 30 to regular season games over the past 2 years, and just 1 of the 5 playoff games in that stretch. That's a problem. Yes, when he's on the field, he's a high-motor special teams guy and a serviceable depth piece. But can the Bills afford to carry a guy who's that unreliable from a health standpoint, especially at a position that's already dangerously thin right now? He's competing with a linebacker group that includes Terrell Bernard, the unquestioned leader, and green dot guy Matt Milano, elite but coming off a brutal injury. Dorian Williams, young, fast, still developing. Joe Andreessen, a hometown story turned real NFL contributor. Defin Ulofoshio, a hungry rookie. Shaq Thompson, experienced, but has played just 6 games in 2 year slits. Be honest, that's not exactly a group you can feel 100% confident in health-wise. So Spector could stick, not necessarily because he's earned it, but because the roster might simply need him. Here's the internal debate the coaching staff has to be having right now: trust versus upside. Spector is known. He's smart. He works hard. He's played in the system, and he's got the trust of special teams coordinator Matthew Smiley. But if someone like Ulofoshio or another cut-down day free agent brings better speed, more coverage ability, and a clean bill of health, that trust could fade fast. In fact, GM Brandon Beane should absolutely be scouting other linebacker rooms across the league for camp. Cuts that could offer more juice and fewer injury flags. That doesn't mean Spector is out, but it does mean he's far from safe. Let's wrap it up. Baylon Spector is a fighter. He's not flashy. He's not a game changer, but he's been a glue guy who's answered the call when the team needed him. But the NFL doesn't care about almost or maybe. This could be his last chance to prove he belongs on this roster, especially with the Bills laser-focused on building a team ready to bring home a championship. The window is now, and every spot on that 53-man roster matters more than ever. So Bills Mafia, here's what I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you worried about Jalen Ramsey being on the Steelers now? Do you think Buffalo finally has enough to take that next step? And should this really be a make-or-break year for Sean McDermott? Let your voices be heard. We're one of the smartest, most passionate fan bases in all of football, and your takes matter. If you enjoyed this deep dive, do us a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. We've got exclusive analysis and insider stories all season long. This is it, Bills Mafia. The pressure's on. The opportunity is now. Let's go get that ring. Go Bills.